Shalom to those on YouTube. Let me see if I can go get the link. If I can go get the link on YouTube, and so that I can put it on Facebook or something. All right. Can someone confirm it's on YouTube? Okay, all right. So all right, getting it on YouTube. All right, just doing some housekeeping here, getting it ready to go on Facebook. All right, today, let me just talk in the meantime. Today we are dealing with a teaching that has developed over the past few days. All right, so here it is. Let me get the link and go to Facebook. All right, so yeah, so this has been developing for the past few days, and several things that have happened and come and opened up our understanding. Now, I have to we have to what is happening here? We have to remind us that I don't know everything, and this is an awakening, so we are learning as we go. Learning as we go. So, as we learn, we share it with you. And many things have been shown up in this teaching here today. All right, so putting it on Facebook. Many things have been shown up, and a lot of understanding. I don't know if we can get through it in time. Might have to do a part 1 and 2. I don't know. But it is very, very revealing. And yeah. So as you look at the topic, man's counsel versus the Most High's purpose. That doesn't pass that thing from a judge. Better stand up. You better standing up. Man's counsel versus the Most High's purpose. So we're not speaking about man's counsel in terms of the wicked leaders or rulers of this earth. We are speaking about man's counsel as it pertains to us as believers, and even as it pertains to sinners as well. So this goes for us, for all of us as believers, and also goes for sinners. So it's for everyone. Okay. So we're just taking some time to set up, taking a much longer time than usual. Now, yeah. So one thing we have to bear in mind is that when we come to serve Yahuwah, we no longer belong to ourselves. What we're doing now, we are laying a foundation based on what we're going to be looking at today. So Matthew 16:24 is a verse that most of us should know by heart. Matthew 16:24. Read it, please.
Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me.
So if we intend to follow the Messiah any at all, we will have to first deny self and take up our stake, take up our troubles, our problems, our trials, our sufferings, and follow Yahushua. That is basic foundation on which our belief is held. Of course, as we have been showing over and over again, that the truth has been hidden from us through man's religion. Man taking counsel to set up religions, and they have hidden the truth from us. So we were not told that we have to deny self and pick up stake and follow anyone. We were told that all we have to do is believe. Another one of them, 1 Corinthians 7:22. These are basic foundational requirements before we even want to think about eternal life. 1 Corinthians 7:22.
For he that is called in Yahushua, being a servant, is Yahushua's free man. Likewise also, he that is called, being free, is Hamashiach's servant.
Continue.
Ye are bought with a price, but not ye the servants of men.
No, not but be not ye servants of men. He that is called in the master, being a servant, is Yahuwah's free, the master's free man. Likewise also that is called, being free, is Hamashiach's servant. So we are called in service to Hamashiach. And it says in 23, ye are bought with a price. We were purchased. We were bought like commodities. We are not to overvalue ourselves and think too highly of ourselves. We are purchased. We are property. We belong to someone. We do not belong to ourselves. And that is backed up by 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. We do not belong to ourselves. I am not my own. I have no life of my own. My life, and we sing it in the Christian song in Christianity. My life is not my own. To you I belong. This is what the scripture says. 19-20. Read it, please.
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKadosh, which is in you, which ye have of Yahuwah, and ye are not your own?
And ye are what?
Not your own.
You are not your own. You don't belong to yourself. Verse 20.
For ye are bought with a price. Therefore magnify Yahuwah in your body, and in your Ruach, which are Yahuwah's.
You were bought with a price, and the price is the blood of Hamashiach. When we immerse and come to Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua, we have given up our rights to ourselves. We no longer belong to ourselves. And a few mornings ago, I think we were looking at it in our morning teaching, that we are like soldiers. When soldiers come in the army, they give up rights as civilians, and then they are owned by the government. All right? It is the same thing with us. It says, exalt Yahuwah in your body and in your Ruach, which are Yahuwah's. So your body and your Ruach now belong to the Most High. 1 Peter 4:1-2. We need to get these foundation things in our head, and then our lives as believers, following the way of truth, will be so much easier.
For as much then as Hamashiach hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin.
So we have to have the same mind, willing to suffer. And we say this every week in, week out. And boy, how many people are registering this? It's like it is going through one ear and going through the other. Oh, you hear it so often over and over again. Arm yourselves likewise with the same mind to suffer. Verse 2.
That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of Yahuwah.
So we see an introduction to suffering there, which we're also going to look at again. If you suffer in the flesh, then you will cease from sin. Kefa is telling us here why the Most High allows us to suffer. When we suffer in the flesh, we will cease from sin. And when we suffer in the flesh, we will not live the rest of our lives lusting after the things of men, lusting after the things of Babylon, but we will spend our lives living in the will of Yahuwah. If we do not suffer, we cannot live in the will of Yahuwah, because the flesh will be our masters. Yes? Verse 3.
For the time past of our life that may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revellings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you.
So those in the world are going to expect us to be living like them, and if not, they are not going to like us. But it says in the time past of our lives, we lived in these things. But now we are to live a completely different life. So another foundation. So that foundation is that when we come to serve Yahuwah, we no longer belong to ourselves. The second foundation is about the remnant. The remnant who will enter the kingdom in the end. Because we have to know about the remnant to know what is expected of us or what awaits us. What we're going to show today is that our view of a true believer has been distorted. And even though it has been distorted and it has been brought to our attention, we continue in the distortion. And we're going to see why and how we can come out of this distortion. So the remnant will be poor and afflicted. Every week we keep telling the same thing, but we're going to give more insights into why these things happen. The remnant will be poor and afflicted. Zephaniah 3:12-13.
I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Yahuwah. The remnant of Yasharal shall not do iniquity nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
So the remnant of Yasharal will be poor and afflicted. Poor and afflicted. Afflicted there means suffering, struggling, going through all sorts of trials, all sorts of negative things, according to the people in the flesh. Isaiah 14 verse 30.
And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant.
All right, so this is speaking to the Philistines. The firstborn of the poor shall feed. These are the children of Yasharal. And the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill thy root, the Philistines, with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. These are the Canaanites that it is speaking to. But if you notice, the poor shall feed and the needy shall lie down. The Most High is leaving a poor and needy people in the end, poor and afflicted. These are the people to whom his focus is on. Another foundation we're going to lay again is that the good news, the gospel, is a gospel of the poor. The gospel is a gospel of the poor. What we're going to show with the man's counsel is that man's counsel is always to get him to escape from Yahuwah's purpose. If the gospel is a gospel of the poor, if the Most High is telling us that the poor and needy will lie down in the end, if he says he will leave in the midst of the poor and afflicted people, it means that the will of the Most High for us in the end is that we be poor and afflicted. But when believers come to the Most High, we don't want that poverty, being poor and afflicted. We fight. We try everything. I'm speaking from experience. We try everything to avoid being brought down. Everything. Not bearing the perspective in mind that it is the love of the Most High, because the Most High knows that if we continue in our comfort zone in the flesh, we can never be perfected in the Ruach. If we continue in our comfort zone in the flesh, we cannot be perfected in the Ruach. So it brings us down in the flesh, lets us suffer in the flesh like his son. So like his son, we can also be perfected. But what do? We spend our entire time fighting against being brought down. And you know what? Sometimes the Most High just leaves us alone. And let us, get into our comfort zone. So the good news is a good news of the poor. The gospel is the gospel of the poor. Let's go to Isaiah 61. Just foundations that we're laying here to show where we're coming from. Isaiah 61. Read it, please.
The Ruach of Yahuwah is upon me, because Yahuwah has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahuwah, and the day of vengeance of our Yahuwah, to comfort all that mourn.
So it shows us that when this gospel is finally executed, yes, when it is executed, there will be good tidings to the meek. That is the poor. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. That is the poor. These are poor and afflicted people. To proclaim liberty to the captives, poor and afflicted, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, poor and afflicted. To comfort all that mourn, poor and afflicted. Verse 3.
To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the ruach of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahuwah, that he might be magnified.
So this is it. Them that mourn in Zion. Rich people will not be mourning in Zion. Okay? Garment of praise for the spirit of ruach of heaviness. The rich will not have the ruach of heaviness. It is the poor and afflicted people. This is the gospel. And this is the foundation. The gospel has been called the truth. This is the foundation. This is what we should be looking for. So if we are not willing to be poor and afflicted, then the gospel has no part for us. Verse 4.
And they shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations.
You see, the Most High is, the gospel is for people, poor, afflicted, brokenhearted, heavy, having heavy spirit, heavy ruach. Then the Most High is going to take them and he's going to turn things around and make them the head and everyone else the tail. That's what the gospel is about. But if you remain the head, if you don't remain in this set of people, where will you be lifted up to? If you are already lifted up, where will you be lifted up? Verse 5.
And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
Continue.
But ye shall be named the priests of Yahuwah. Men shall call you the ministers of our Yahuwah. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their splendor shall ye boast yourselves.
Continue.
For your shame ye shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them.
So everything is going to be flipped around for your shame. That means in the end, it will be a set of people who were in shame. All right? People who are down. All right? So that's just showing that the gospel, laying foundations here, that the gospel is a gospel of the poor and afflicted. The remnant will be poor and will be suffering. So what is most important to us? What is most important to us as believers who are seeking the way of Yahuwah is the will of the Father. What is most important is the will of the Most High. So we have to know what His will is. And we just saw some of what His will is for us, a poor and afflicted people. That is His will in the end. So we have to know His will and walk according to His will. Matthew 26, verses 37 to 39.
And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then said he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt.
So it's all about the will of the Father. And the will of the Father is going to be heavy. It was so heavy for Mashiach, he says he is sorrowful even unto death. But it is not his will. It is not my will nor your will. We have to seek to do the Father's will. Because if we end up doing our own will, we are going to be rejected. It is like you are going for a job interview. You are going for a job interview, and the job is totally unrelated to anything that you know or understand. When you go to the job interview with your qualification, for example, you're a qualified chemist, but they want a physicist, and you go with all your chemistry degrees. And when they come and they start interviewing you, they say, but, oh, you're very qualified, but this is not what we want. Same thing with the Most High. We are going to be, in the end, very qualified. But guess what? Qualified for the wrong thing. That's not his purpose. That's not his will. We did not do his will. Matthew 7, 21 to 23. Let's see when the chemist goes for the physics, the job of a physicist. Let's see what will happen.
Not every one that saith unto me, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
See, they're telling us all their qualifications. I've prophesied, cast out devils, done many wonderful works. But it's going to say, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity, because you were doing another will, you were not doing the Father's will. So we have to know the Father's will, people, or else we are going to hear, I never knew you. And surprise, surprise, it is the will of the Most High for us to suffer. It's a very hard pill to swallow. Something that we have been teaching, and people, I don't know, people can get it. It is the will of the Most High. It is His love that we suffer, because we are trapped in a body of flesh that is causing us all sorts of problems as believers. No, it's causing problem for sinners, but as believers, it is causing us all sorts of problems. Look how hard it is to be perfected. Look how hard it is to walk in righteousness. Eh? We have the desire, we have the will, but guess what? As Shaul said in Romans 7, we just cannot get it right. So, guess how we can get it right? If we live and suffer. What did he say about Hamashiach? He learned obedience by what? By the things that he suffered. That is how we are going to learn obedience. Acts 3, verse 18. We have been trying to tell people this, and I hope you're not tired of it, but it is a foundation that if we grab it, then we will be good. Read, please.
But those things which Yahuwah before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that Hamashiach should suffer, he hath so fulfilled.
That Hamashiach must suffer. He had so fulfilled. His son should suffer. And if his son suffered, what about us? Let's go to 2 Corinthians 1, verses 3 to 11. Oh, that we can get it. 2 Corinthians 1, verse 3 to 11, I said?
Yeah.
Oh, that we can get it and have the mindset of a willingness to suffer. Oh, how we will be changed and turned around. Read, please.
Blessed be Yahuwah, even the Father of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, the Father of mercies, and the Yahuwah of all comfort, who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of Yahuwah.
You see that chain? It's problems on every side. Yeah? The Most High comforts us in our tribulation, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in trouble. Through the comfort that the Most High has comforted us through our tribulation. So it's trouble on every side. Verse 5.
But as the sufferings of Hamashiach abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Hamashiach.
So to be like Hamashiach, to walk as he walked, we have to live as he lived. So when it says in 1 John 2:6, he that saith he abideth in him ought himself so to walk, even as he walked, it is a walk of problems, trials, tribulations, suffering. All right? Verse 6.
And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer. Or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation.
So all that we are going through, Shaul was speaking of the leaders, that the suffering that they're going through, it is for the consolation. It is for the good of those who they are leading. Okay? And that they are being afflicted and suffering, but also those other believers are also afflicted and suffering. Verse 7.
And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the sufferings, so shall ye be also of the consolation.
So there we go. It's a prerequisite. We have to be willing to go through the suffering so that in the end we can receive the reward. What we're showing and what we're looking at, people, the foundation of us as believers trying to elude, trying to avoid suffering every day. Everything we do in our lives, we are trying to avoid this suffering. But by avoiding it, we're doing ourselves a disservice. Verse 8.
For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in Yahuwah which raiseth the dead.
And here's the point. The point is to make ourselves so insufficient that our hope and trust is in Yahuwah. That's why Yahuwah brings us through suffering. Because if we do not suffer, if we are comfortable, if we are able to do everything ourselves, to get ourselves out of every situation, every problem, everything, then we will trust in our own strength. And by trusting in our own strength, that will strengthen the flesh, it will strengthen the sinful man, and we will not be able to overcome sin. Continue.
Who delivered us from so great a death, and does deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Ye also helping together by prayer for us, that for the gift bestowed upon us by the means of many persons, thanks may be given by many on our behalf.
So the Most High has delivered them from death. I don't know if any of us have gone through this as believers, as yet being delivered from death and trusting in the Most High. But that is the whole idea. Acts 5:40 to 42. We're looking into different aspects of instructions that we as believers must go through sufferings, so we get an understanding of truly what our walk is about. Read it, please.
And to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And
worthy to suffer shame for his name. They celebrated because they knew that this was good, to suffer shame for his name. Verse 42.
And daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and preach Yahushua HaMashiach.
All right. Romans 8:16 to 17. Running through them quickly. Romans 8:16 to 17. Go ahead.
The Ruach itself beareth witness with our Ruach, that we are the children of Yahuwah. And if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahuwah and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also magnified together.
So we see a prerequisite there. A requirement for us to be heirs is that we suffer with Hamashiach, that we may be also exalted together. So without suffering with Hamashiach, it is saying that you are not heirs. First Corinthians 6 verse 7. We're showing here the true belief. We were spoiled by the religion of Christianity, Satan's religion that was set to get us into Sheol. We are showing the true way of the scriptures, the true way of the scriptures. Verse 7.
Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law one with another. Why do ye not rather take wrong? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?
To be defrauded. So these are believers who are there arguing, trying to resolve, right, I am right, you are wrong. And Shaul is telling them, why don't you rather yourselves to be defrauded? Why don't you rather to be come on the wrong end of it? To give up your rights for the sake of shalom. Yeah? All right. Philippians 3:8 to 11. We're showing the true emunah of the scriptures. The true way. Philippians 3:8.
Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss, for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahushua, my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Hamashiach.
So he says, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things. This is the life of a believer, to be willing to give up everything that we may win Hamashiach. Verse 9.
And be found in him, not having mine own righteousness which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Hamashiach, the righteousness which is of Yahuwah by faith, that I may know him, and the power of his resurrection, and the
the
fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable
unto his death. So what does it mean to be made conformable unto his death? To die a similar death. This is what it means to walk as Hamashiach walked. To die a similar death. To go through things that he went through. And the disciples of old, they celebrated whenever they got the chance to go through the same thing that Hamashiach went through. 1 Thessalonians 3:4. Read, please.
But truly, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and ye know.
All right. Even as it come to pass, and you know, we should suffer tribulation. That's what we're saying here today. 2 Thessalonians 1:4-7. Coming up. Read, please.
So that we ourselves splendor in you, in the assemblies of Yahuwah, for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure.
That is all a part and parcel of our belief. We're going to look at man's counsel now, how we take counsel to avoid this suffering. And that is a common thing for us today. Common thing. Almost everyone takes counsel to avoid this suffering. Even when he says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, why do you think people set up relocation areas and people set up themselves as real estate agents, telling you we have comfortable accommodations here, because people are trying to avoid suffering. They want to flee, but they want to flee in style with the same comforts that they had before. Always taking counsel to avoid the Most High's will. Continue.
Which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of Yahuwah, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Yahuwah, for which ye also suffer.
For which ye also suffer. So, we must have patience and emunah in all our persecutions and tribulations, that we may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So if you're not willing to go through the persecutions and tribulations through patience and emunah, then the kingdom will not be for us. Let's look at them carefully. We might be going a little fast, but you can go back and look on this, because we have a lot to cover, so that's why I'm trying to breeze it through. But these are very powerful things for us to look into. All right, so we just said it, that man does not want to suffer. And so, let me change this heading here quickly. Man does not want to suffer. And so, mankind uses all sorts of devices to avoid going through suffering for the kingdom of the Most High. Yeah? We just want the Most High to bring us down financially. You see how much desperate things we try in order to stay afloat, not knowing that it is the love of the Most High who wants us now. He sees that we are interested in eternal life. And that is the thing. You see, when we turn to him, he sees that, well, this one wants life. First thing that happens, it is you're being brought down financially. How many people has this happened to? I've seen it too many times. What is he doing? He's helping you, taking you from this area of control, bringing you to the point where you're willing to suffer so that the Spirit can prevail and you can overcome in the end to enter his kingdom. Why? Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. Galatians 6:11-18. Man comes with all sorts of devices in order to avoid suffering for righteousness. Galatians 6:11.
Ye see how large a letter I have written unto you with mine own hand. As many as desire to make a fair show in the flesh, they constrain you to be circumcised, only lest they should suffer persecution for the sake of Hamashiach.
All right, I want you to look into this carefully. This is what religion does today. This is why you have a religion like Christianity ruling the world. Okay? This is why you have the Jews with their religion as well. What they do, they set up religions, they set up certain things that they tell you to do so that you can avoid the sufferings and tribulations that come with Hamashiach. And that is why, even today, when you have people coming out, the different religions that take shape, even the Hebrew Israelite religion, the focus is not on Hamashiach, because the focus would have to be on suffering. So what did these Pharisees do in those days? Concentrate on what? Circumcision. As many as desire to make a fair show of thee in the flesh, they constrain you to be circumcised, only lest they should suffer persecution for the sake of Hamashiach. So they stay with the established religion, so that Hamashiach is kind of either totally pushed aside or partially pushed aside, so that we will not suffer persecution. And isn't that with Christianity today? Christianity is a nice, bossy, as we say in Jamaica, religion. You don't suffer persecution. You just go and you do whatever you want to do. If you want to suffer persecution, you go and bother people and they will persecute you. If you don't want to suffer persecution, you just go and just proclaim JC every Sunday and you are good. Okay? Verse 13.
For neither they themselves who are circumcised keep the law, but desire to have you circumcised, that they may splendor in your flesh.
Just think about Christianity here with this now. That's the biggest religion in the world. All right? This is what the Pharisees did, and we know. Wanted people to be circumcised so they can exalt in the numbers of people. Same thing with Christianity. Want people to come and then they be baptized in their churches or whatever they do. Pay your tithes and offerings, the number swells, and they exalt in the numbers because they benefit from the numbers. So they exalt in your flesh just because of your presence. There's no emphasis on the things of the Spirit, really. There's no heavy emphasis on the things of the Spirit of transformation in the Christian church. All there is in the flesh. Verse 14.
But Yahuwah forbid that I should splendor, save in the stake of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom the world is put to death unto me, and I unto the world.
You see, here's a comparison now. This is how we are supposed to be now. So we are supposed to be exalt in the stake of Hamashiach, which means it says, pick up your stake and follow me. The trials and the troubles and the tribulations and the sufferings, that is where we should dwell. By whom the world is, what's the word? Yeah. Put to death unto me, and I unto the world. So when you truly follow Hamashiach, then the world is nothing to you. You don't care about the world. You don't care about partaking in the world. You just want to get out of the world. You cannot stand this wicked world. But think about the world's religion. All of them do what? They fit into the world. But the true believer will not fit in. Verse 15.
For in Hamashiach Yahushua neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but a new creature.
So whatever rituals they have, it does not matter. What matters is that you become new, you become transformed in the likeness, in the image of Yahushua, who is the image of Yahuwah. That's what it's about. Verse 16.
And as many as walk according to this rule, peace be on them, and mercy, and upon the Yasharal of Yahuwah.
Remember, Shaul said there are not all Yasharal who are of Yasharal. So it's telling you that this is the true Yasharal. Those who bear the burden of Yahusha. Bear the stake of Yahusha. Not those who are literal Israel. Those who bear the stake of Yahusha. Verse 17.
From henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Master Yahushua.
You see it? I bear in my body the marks of Yahusha. All of them with their religion and with all of that. Do we bear the burden of Yahusha? Are we carrying his burden? Because if we are not, then we're wasting our time. All right, so man always tries to avoid getting going into what you call it, into suffering. Now, this this teaching kicked off when we had a conversation with two brethren and the other day, and they were asking, or I was telling that it was such a profound revelation, this thing. Excuse me. They were asking, what do they do? What should they do? Because they're seeing and hearing things that are happening in the world, and they are wondering, what do we do? So one of them told me that he was preparing to go to look a job in a different city. So I said, okay. So I said to him, but if you go to the city to look a job, you'll have to pay rent and everything. How long would it take you to recover from where you were? And he told me that yes, he'll have to pay rent, and he had a family member there and everything. And then I actually started telling him that you have to, we are making an error in terms of how we approach things. Most of us are actually acting, doing, and then we ask the Most High to bless what we're doing. We inherited this from Christianity, this commanding thing, this thing about me able to do this, speak it into being, all of that. We exalt ourselves now to think that the Most High is behind us, watching us, and you make your move, and the Most High says, okay, you did that, okay, I will help you. No, that's not how the Most High works. The Most High has his will. So I said to him, go and seek Yahuwah. Now, let me tell you something. Believers don't like to hear this. Because it takes patience. It takes emunah. It takes long suffering. You might have to be battered in the meantime while you're seeking him. They don't want to hear that. We don't like to hear that we should seek Yahuwah. But I told him, go and seek Yahuwah. Go and pray. And if you're praying and it doesn't work, go and fast. All right? And the Most High will answer you and tell you what you need to do. Otherwise, you will be doing, and it is not his will, and then comes the pain. Because it's going to leave you in your own will, and you'll be fighting to ask him to help you, to correct you. Yes? So you are to go here, and instead of going here, you go there. And when you go there, the problems that come with there, because it is not Yahuwah's will, you now have to find a way to get you from here to where you should be. It's best in the first place to go and ask him. He's going to tell you, look at David, everything that David did. He consulted Yahuwah first. What did Yahuwah say of David? A man of what? Mine own heart. Did the Most High say, no, David, I'm tired of you? No. If David didn't seek him personally, he went to Nathan the prophet. If that didn't, he went to God the seer. You see? Yeah. David went and sought out the Most High before he did everything. What do we do as believers? We do what our mind tells us. Because we got this from Christianity. The Holy Spirit tells me. Every thought that I have in Christianity now is the Holy Spirit told me. It is our thought based on our own desires, but it's the Holy Spirit told me. Not seeking his will first. But seeking his will comes with time, patience, have to be patient and wait for him. And the person asked me, how will he hear from Yahuwah? Yahuwah will speak to you in a dream. He will speak to you in a vision. He will send someone to you. You will go and you will look in a situation. It says, walk in the Ruach. You will see a situation and then you will get the understanding of what he wants you to do. You will be speaking with someone and he sends it to you. I'm going to tell you something that happened that very day. So while they were here with us, and I was telling them about David and what they need to do, stop making your own decisions. That was Christianity. When you're following the way, you seek Yahuwah's face first. So after we left now, a goat had died. So they went to help us to bury the goat. So when we went to bury the goat, we were there waiting. While we were waiting, we were just talking, and I was asking Yazi, how many radio stations do we? I don't know how radio stations came up. But I said, how many radio stations do you have in St. Kitts? And he told me, he started telling me. And he took out his phone. And he went to an app that shows all the radio stations in the world. And he went to St. Kitts and he looked and he showed around. And I said to him, go to Jamaica and let's see how much. And he went to Jamaica. So there was a radio station in Ocho Rios. So I expected it to be Irie FM. When it wasn't Irie FM, Yaziel clicked on it and said, let me see what this is about. When we started playing the thing, it was a gospel station. You know what it was playing? It was playing something from Miles Monroe. Now, normally I don't bother to listen to Christian, but that one hit me from the start. Yeah, it was talking about a lineage. Yeah, he was saying that the lineage doesn't matter. So I was listening to say, where is he going with this? And would you believe, I was so into it. Yes, he said, and it looked like you better take the phone. And I had the phone and I just left it on. I was listening to it. And would you believe, all of us started listening to it. Would you believe everything that I spoke to them about was in the thing? Everything. And I said to them, that is your message. That is your message. And for us today, that is our message. And when you tell believers this, they get frustrated and angry at times because of the pain that you have to go through when you seek Yahuwah. But here it is. You might go through pain in seeking him, but after you have sought him and he answers you, there's no pain. But if you don't seek him and you make the wrong move, nothing but pain there for you. Nothing but pain as you battle through and go through all the different nuances. So after that now, was it in that, yeah, he was speaking and we're saying to him, but saying to ourselves, but not even one scripture he spoke. Until he said, let me give you one more scripture. And we started to laugh. I said, one more? There wasn't any. And what scripture did he give? Proverbs 19, verse 21. Proverbs 19, verse 21. Hold on, please. Proverbs 19, verse 21. Go ahead, George.
There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of Yahuwah, that shall stand.
You see? There are many devices in a man's heart. We're going to look at the meaning of devices and counsel. Nevertheless, the counsel of Yahuwah, that shall stand. So with all of our devices that we choose to do things of our own, without consulting Yahuwah, it is only the counsel of Yahuwah that shall stand. That's why you have to consult him. He is not going to change his purpose to suit you. You have to seek out his purpose for you and walk in it. And then your whole lot of problems that you have will be gone. Suppose his purpose for me. Suppose his purpose for me is, I don't even want to say anything because I don't want any purpose. Suppose the purpose for me is not this that I'm doing. It wants to bring me somewhere else. What do I do? Say, I don't want to go. I want to stay. If I stay, he will make sure that I get nothing but hell. If I go, then his will be done. Okay? So let's go back. Yeah. So no matter what we come with, hear this. We cannot stand against the counsel or the purpose of Yahuwah. Whatever we come with, we cannot stand against his purpose. And here's Proverbs 19:21. So the meaning of devices there is the Hebrew word makishabath, which means, wow, it has a lot of meaning. Contrivance, something that we contrive. Not something that Yahuwah gives us, but something that we contrive. And isn't that what we do? We contrive, and we might say it's the Holy Spirit that tells us, or whatever. If that is concretely a texture machine or abstractly intention, plan, whether bad or good, whether a plot or good advice, cunning work, curious works, device, imagination, invented means, invented purpose, thought. So these are things that we contrive, we come up with, okay, in different situations without finding out if it is the will of the Most High. And the Most High wants us to find out his will because guess what? He is a social Yahuwah. He wants us to, what you call it now? To have dialogue with him, to have a relationship with him, to trust him, to believe in him. Yes? All right? So we have set that up. So man's counsel, man's devices, there are many devices of man. So we want to see how our counsel correlates to the Most High's purpose. We're going to look at the connection between wisdom and man's devices. And of course, man's devices work against the Most High's purpose. If I contrive something to do something, it's going to go against the Most High's purpose. Let's see where wisdom comes in. Proverbs 1:21-33, and you must know this by heart. We're going to look at it in a different light. Proverbs 1:21-33. Hold on, please. Read it, please.
She crieth in the chief place of concourse.
Read from 20. Sorry, my bad.
Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my ruach unto you. I will make known my words unto you.
So it's wisdom who is going to teach us or show us the will of Yahuwah. It's wisdom that is going to show us the will of Yahuwah. Continue.
Because I have called, and ye refuse.
You see, wisdom will call on us, but will we answer? Will we answer? 24 again.
Because I have called, and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel.
Up. You have set at naught all my
counsel.
So wisdom will give you her counsel. But guess what? It goes against what I believe or what I want or what I'm comfortable with. No, sir, this is too hard. I'll find an easy way. And so, when you hear people talking the hard words, when you come to just the word and just the word speaks hard about suffering for Yahushua Mashiach's sake, no, sir, this is too hard. Jump and find someone else, itching ears, and find someone more conducive. Yes? That's wisdom that was calling you. And you set at naught all of her counsel, and with none of her correction. Therefore, verse 26.
I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you.
Yeah, right. You see how many things come upon us when we make the wrong choice? You see, when we go according to our own devices, you see how much problem comes upon us? Your calamity will come upon you. Fear will come upon you. Destruction, distress, anguish comes upon us when we choose the wrong path. Continue.
Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
So when you realize that you have made a mistake now, you realize that you've made an error, and you want to correct the error, wisdom is saying, no, you're going to call on me, and I'm not going to hear you. You see why it's important to seek Yahuwah. Verse 29.
For that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of Yahuwah.
All right, so why didn't they choose the fear of Yahuwah? What is the connection between the fear of Yahuwah and wisdom? Eh? Amakai, you're sleeping. What is the connection between the fear of Yahuwah and wisdom? Psalm 111 verse 10, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. So if you don't fear Yahuwah, when wisdom speaks, you're not going to be able to hear. You're not going to be able to respond to wisdom. Verse 30.
They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof.
All right? All my correction. So you're going in the wrong way. And wisdom says, no, this is the way. This is the way you should go. You say, this is where I am going. Continue.
Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices.
You see it? They will be filled with their own devices. So all the devices that we are contriving, or we have contrived, or we will contrive, those will lead us into destruction. Verse 32.
For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So
we have to be willing to listen to the Most High, so that we can dwell safely. Wisdom 9:9-18. Wisdom 9:9-18. So the whole point is, we're looking at the connection between wisdom and our devices. Read, please.
And wisdom was with thee, which knoweth thy works, and was present when thou madest the world, and knew what was acceptable in thy sight, and right in thy commandments. O send her out of thy holy heavens, and from the throne of thy splendor, that being present she may labor with me, that I may know what is pleasing unto thee.
You see, this is Shulamah. This is Solomon who is speaking, asking the Most High to send wisdom to work with him, that he may know what is pleasing unto the Most High. So it is wisdom that lets us know what is pleasing to the Most High. Verse 11.
For she knoweth and understandeth all things, and she shall lead me soberly in my doings, and preserve me in her power. So shall my works be acceptable, and then shall I judge thy people righteously, and be worthy to sit in my Father's seat.
All right. Notice it says, and preserve me in her power, not in my power, but in her power. Continue.
For what man is he that can know the counsel of Yahuwah, or who can think that what the will of Yahuwah is? For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but unclean.
Uncertain.
Uncertain,
Our
sorry.
devices are but uncertain. So anything that we come up with, your thoughts are uncertain. But the way of Yahuwah is certain and sure. Verse 15.
For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things.
So the corruptible body presseth down the soul. This is why it is the will of Yahuwah that we suffer. You see it? The corruptible body presses down the soul. So the Most High makes the corruptible body suffer so that the soul can get to breathe. The Ruach, the spirit in the man, can get to be above the flesh. Read 15 again, please.
For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things.
That museth upon many things. So when the flesh is weighed upon, then we'll muse on less things and muse on the spiritual thing. Continue.
And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth.
Hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth. Continue.
And with labor do we find the things that are before us, but the things that are in heaven, who hath searched out?
Mm-hmm.
And thy counsel, who hath known, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Ruach HaKodesh from above.
So it is the Most High. That's how you seek the Most High. Through his Ruach, the Most High will give us his answers. Yes? It says, repent and be immersed in the name of Yahushua Mashiach for the remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of Ruach HaKadosh. You were given the Ruach as a gift for us to be guided into all truth and for us to fellowship with the Most High through his Son. It is through Ruach HaKadosh that the Most High can speak to us and show us his way and show us the way in which we are to go. He sent the Ruach to guide us into all truth. So how can we be here making our own decisions and not seeking out the Most High? Verse 18.
For so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom.
So it's wisdom that teaches us, guides us into the way that we should go. So we looked at man's devices. Let's look at the importance of counsel. The meaning of counsel. It is the Hebrew word yatz, a primitive root to advise, reflexively to deliberate or resolve. To advertise, take advice, to advise, well, to consult, to give, to take counsel, counselor, determine, devise, guide, purpose. So counsel is anything that helps to instruct us in the way that whomever is consulting us thinks that we should go. Now, we have counsel that we take from ourselves. We have counsel that we take from man. We have counsel that we take from devils. We have counsel that we take from the Most High. It's a no-brainer to think that there's only one source of true counsel. That is the Most High. One sure way. So let's look at the importance of counsel. Sirach 40 verse 25.
Gold and silver make the foot stand sure, but counsel is esteemed above them both.
Counsel is esteemed above gold and silver. Why? Counsel can lead you into achieving even more than gold and silver. Can save your life. All right? Gold and silver are not more important than our lives. Where there is no counsel, Proverbs 11, verse 14.
Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety.
In the multitude of counselors, there is safety, but where there is none, people will fall. Counsel is important. Verse 22 of Proverbs 15.
Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established.
So without counsel, our purposes are disappointed. Meaning, we go and we do things for ourselves, after our own hearts, after our own minds. Yeah? The purposes will be disappointed because we have not been directed by counsel. And by the way, counsel, the rock of counsel, that is a spiritual gift from the Most High. All right? And remember, the Most High gives different gifts according to his discretion. So different people will be given different gifts. So some people are given the gift of counsel. They will give you good advice if you just ask. Proverbs 12, verse 15.
The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise.
The way of a fool is right in his own eyes. Any man or anyone or any woman who thinks that whatever they believe, whatever they think, that's it. Yes? Not willing to listen to counsel. The word says they are fools. We have to be willing to listen to counsel. And not only to obey counsel, but to prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Because people can come with wrong counsel. You have to use wisdom and understanding to know which counsel to accept. All right? Huh? We're going to see how you resolve all of this. Because wisdom is the companion of counsel. Wisdom is the companion of counsel. You have to know how and when to identify wisdom. When counsel comes with wisdom, when someone is speaking in wisdom. Sometimes you hear people talk and they say, oh, okay, I heard what you said. But sometimes people say something to you and say, that makes sense. I never looked at it like that. It's when it's accompanied with wisdom. Wisdom is the companion of counsel. Psalms 111 verse 10. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding of all they that do his commandment. Okay? Let's go to Sirach 21 verse 13. Sirach 21:13. Read it, please.
The knowledge of a wise man shall abound like a flood, and his counsel is like a pure fountain of life.
All right, so when counsel is coming from wisdom, from a wise man, then you pay attention to what he is saying. Sirach 25:5.
Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor.
Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. So when the elder is speaking, you listen to the elder, because wisdom comes with age. The more you grow, the more experiences you have, the more you are able to acquire wisdom. Of course, you have some old men who never brought wisdom with them. Not speaking about those old men. All right? And notice something here. Wisdom and understanding go hand in hand. We're going to look at that as well. All right, Tobit 4:18-19. Tobit 4, wisdom. Hold on, please. Tobit 4:18-19. Read it, please.
Ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that is profitable.
All right, you hear that? Counsel and wisdom go hand in hand. Ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that is profitable. You have some counsel that is profitable, but we are uncomfortable with it. This is something that we have to throw away. We have to be willing to do everything to our own hurt, because we're called to suffer afflictions, etc. So we have to have it in our minds that we are going to choose that which is profitable, even if it is against what we think or believe. Tobit 4:19.
Bless Yahuwah thy Elohim always, and desire of him that thy ways may be directed, and that all thy paths and counsels may prosper.
Notice what he's saying. Desire of him that thy ways may be what? Directed. Not me doing my own thing, but Yahuwah directing my path. Continue. For every.
And that all thy paths and counsels may prosper. For every nation hath not counsel, but Yahuwah himself giveth all good things, and he humbleth whom he will, as he will. Now therefore, my son, remember my commandments, neither let them be put out of thy mind.
All right, so Yahuwah will give you all good things, so he will direct your way. If you remember his commandments, that's another prerequisite. We cannot be in unrighteousness and asking the Most High to direct us. Yeah? Imagine me, I'm in sin and asking the Most High to direct me in righteousness. That doesn't work at all. So all of these things that I'm talking about is for people who are seeking after Yahuwah's righteousness. Proverbs 2:3. Proverbs 2:3. Go ahead.
Yea, if thou criest after knowledge, and liftest up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver, and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of Yahuwah, and find the knowledge of Elohim.
Mm-hmm. For Yahuwah.
For Yahuwah giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly.
All right. So wisdom, knowledge, understanding, all connected to his counsel. Huh?
Proverbs 3, verse 5, 6, and 7.
Proverbs 3, 5 to 7. Go ahead.
Trust in Yahuwah with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him,
and he shall direct thy paths. Yes?
But before you said, the alternative man acknowledges him in his own understanding.
Yes.
And expects a blessing when he sought his own way. And this is the true way.
Yes. In all thy ways acknowledge him. That means in everything. And Amakai was saying it to me today. Seek ye first the kingdom of Allah and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. This is what is important. It's direction, directing our paths. That's what we're talking about today. Because if our paths are not directed, we are going to go into places and we are going to err. Verse 7.
Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Yahuwah and depart from evil.
So that we were just saying a while ago that we cannot expect him to be directing us in sin. Fear Yahuwah and depart from evil. Acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path.
And we can't be led by what we see with our eyes.
No. You have to be walking in the Ruach. And to be walking in the Ruach, the flesh has to be under subjection. So why we must seek the counsel of the Most High and not our own? Wisdom 9:13 to 18. Did we look at that? Wisdom 9:13 to 18. Why we should seek? Wisdom 9:13 Yeah, we did
read
that. Yeah, we did that. All right, what else is there? Sirach 6:22 to 37. Did we do that?
Yeah.
We did it? All right, good. So let's look now at the connection. They have a word called synergy. Let's look at the synergy between wisdom, understanding, and counsel. Sirach 15, verses 10 to 15. The synergy between wisdom, understanding, and counsel. Sirach 15, 10 to 15.
For praise,
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead now.
for praise shall be uttered in wisdom, and Yahuwah will prosper it.
That's wisdom.
Say not thou, it is through Yahuwah that I fell away, for thou oughtest not to do the things that he hateth.
So, when you fall away and you go into error, don't say it is Yahuwah who caused it. Verse 12.
Say not thou, he hath caused me to err, for he hath no need of the sinful man.
Right? So you cannot say the Most High caused you to err. Verse 13.
Yahuwah hateth all abomination, and they that fear allure love it not. He himself made man from the beginning, and left him in the hand of his counsel.
All right.
If thou wilt to keep the commandments, and to perform acceptable faithfulness.
Verse 16.
He hath set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt.
17.
Before man is life and death, and whether him liketh shall be given him.
All right. So there are choices before us. There are choices before us. And we will make different choices. That will get us, some will get us into problem and some will get us into the right way. The Most High will not get us into unrighteousness or into the wrong way. It is according to the choices that we make. So that is why it's important to seek Yahuwah before we do all things. All right? Before we make any decision, our decision-making process should be very, very slow. We have a decision-making process at times to do with major things, and we love to think quickly. Right away we do things. Bam! Because we lack what? Patience, long-suffering, faith, all of those things. So we want things to be dealt with immediately. But sometimes our choices will get us into trouble. And it is not the Most High that got us into that. It is us. Now here is the thing how it works now. When we make those wrong choices and we get into trouble, guess what? The Most High's purpose shall stand. So if I'm to go to A and I go to B, the Most High's will for me is to go to A. No matter how I love B, still have to go to A because the Most High's purpose will stand. And he will tear down all sorts of barriers and all sorts of things if you are the chosen according to his purpose. If you are chosen according to his purpose, predestinated according to his purpose, then he will tear down everything to get you to where he wants you to do, because you have to achieve and his will that he set for you. So there is much pain in making the wrong choices, but we still have to end up going to the destination.
Jonah ended up in the stinking belly of a whale.
Yes. And he still ended up having to do what he had to do. Okay? Now, what happens when we lack understanding? Because wisdom, understanding, and counsel go together. What happens when we lack understanding? The meaning of understanding, it is intelligence, by implication and argument, by extension, caprice, discretion, reason, skillfulness, understanding, wisdom. When we lack understanding, let's see the necessity, the need for understanding. Proverbs 20 verse 5.
Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out.
Realize that what this is saying. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. It means that counsel is there, but it's hidden deep, deep down. But he says a man of understanding will draw it out. It's our understanding that pulls up counsel. Let's go to Sirach 47:23.
Thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel.
Oops. Who did what?
Who turned away the people through his counsel.
Why is it? Because he had no understanding. People, we cannot go to people who have no understanding to give us counsel. Simply because that counsel is going to agree with what we say. Hold on. You have the mic? Oh, Rehoboam? Yeah. Ah. Yes, he took counsel with the younger men. And yes, he despised the counsel of the elders. Hey. Yes. Huh? Let me see if we can get it. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Because it's quite in line with what we're saying here. 1 Kings 12. 1 Kings 12, verse 1. Let me get this on the screen. Read it, please.
And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Yasharal were come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass, when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Yasharal came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever.
If thou wilt be a what? Servant unto this people, they will be thy servants forever. Humble. It's the same principle in the New Testament. Continue.
But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said unto them, What counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
What silly? Where? Yeah. What kind of counsel is this? No wonder it says foolishness. You call it the foolishness. This is foolishness. Verse 12.
So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, Come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Continue.
Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahuwah, that he might perform his saying, which Yahuwah spake by Ahiah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
So verse 16.
So when all Yasharal saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Yasharal. Now see to thine own house, David. So Yasharal departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Yasharal which dwelt in the cities of Yehudah, Rehoboam reigned over them.
And that's it. That's his foolishness. That's his folly. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it says in Sirach 47:23, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel. But Jeroboam was no better. There was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Yasharal to sin and showed Ephraim the way of sin. No better. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Sirach 47:24.
And their sins were multiplied exceedingly, that they were driven out of the land.
These are men who have no understanding. Nothing good comes for us when we have no understanding. So if our intent does not line up with the Most High, we are going to take evil counsel. Let me repeat it. If our intent does not line up with the will of the Most High, we are going to take evil counsel in order for us to achieve our own intent. 1 Kings 12:20-33. Well, guess what? You see how you said 15, Amakai? Where did we stop? We stopped at 17. And look there. Continue.
And it came to pass, when all Yasharal heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation or the assembly, and made him king over all Yasharal. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehudah only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehudah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Yasharal, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon.
Continue.
But the word of Yahuwah came unto Shimei, the man of Yahuwah, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Yehudah, and unto all the house of Yehudah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus says Yahuwah, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Yasharal. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of Yahuwah, and returned to depart according to the word of Yahuwah.
Continue.
Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Yahuwah, even unto Rehoboam, king of Yehudah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Yehuda.
This is when we take our own counsel. Took his own counsel here. And because of that, thousands of years after, they still have the lost tribes of Yashua. Because of this one counsel, you have the 10 lost tribes. Still today, people don't know where they are. One decision. So when we lack understanding, when we seek our own counsel, we will do evil and don't even care if we do evil. Because our whole intent is to satisfy our own desire. Continue.
Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy mighty men, O Yasharal, thy mighty ones, O Yasharal, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
And to show you how we get evil intent when we lack understanding and when we go after our own way, he knows. Here, O Yasharal, Yahuwah our Alua is one Alua. Now that Shema, Deuteronomy 6 verse 4, was given to Yasharal to let them know, no idolatry, I am Akkad, I am one, I am a Ruach. Nothing. No, because he wanted to get his own way, he went and made the calves and said, this is Yahuwah. These are Yahuwah. Continue. Amika, you were saying something? All right. Verse 29.
Verse 29. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
Before the one. So he set 2 of them, one in Bethel and the other in Dan. And the people, it seemed all the people went to that one in Dan. I wonder why. That's why Dan is, yeah. Verse 31.
And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
People, look what we do when we take our own counsel. You see the error? Look at the grave error. Yeah? He knew. He was from the tribe of Ephraim, I think. He knew the priesthood. He knows all of those things. Going according to his own way, he became a totally different person. Verse 32.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Yehuda, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
33.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Yasharal, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
Wow, you see what is achieved when we go after our own desires. Go ahead. Huh?
Great error and going to debt.
Yes.
It's debt. Come on.
And it's like the Most High allows us to be blinded.
Wages of sin is debt.
No, you have to be blinded if you're an Israelite at that time under Solomon and do this.
Wisdom 1 verse 12.
Wisdom 1 verse 12.
Yeah. I think it's talking about this seeking after your own ways. In your own way.
Wisdom 1 verse 12.
Seek not death in the error of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands.
Seek not death in the error of your life. Error. And put not yourselves destruction with the works of your hand. That's why people, we have to seek Yahuwah. Now, when we take our own counsel and reject Yahuwah's counsel, as that happened with Jeroboam, Psalm 106, verses 9 to... Hold on, let me see where the verse is. Psalm 106, verse 9. Oh, it's a long one. Let's start from verse 9. Psalm 106. When we reject Yahuwah's counsel, let's see what happens.
He rebuked the Red Sea also, and it was dried up. So he led them through the depths as through the wilderness.
You have to go fast. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. And he saved them from the hand of him that hated them, and redeemed them from the hand of the enemy. And the waters covered their enemies; there was not one of them left. Then believed they his words. They sang his praise.
Then what happened next?
They soon forgot his works. They waited not for his counsel, but lusted exceedingly in the wilderness, and tempted allure in the desert.
You see? How many of us we come to the Most High and we're excited and we're happy? We're excited and we're happy. But guess what? We soon forget our desires, our lusts, our ways of life, whatever. Just let's astray from off Yahuwah. And guess what? We are not going to wait for his counsel. When our eyes are on him and focused on him, we'll be totally focused on him and his will. When we take our eyes off him, our eyes will be focused on things that satisfy our lusts and desires. And they lusted exceedingly in the wilderness and tempted allure in the desert. Continue.
And he gave them their request, but sent leanness into their soul.
And he did what?
He gave them their request.
So when we are going after our own ways, the Most High will grant us our own ways. Look what happened to Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin. He got his own ways. He set up his calves in Bethel and Gilgal. Yeah. He set up his calves there. And the people went and worshipped there. Set up his own priesthood and everything. The Most High allowed it to happen. Continue.
They envied Moses also in the camp, and Aaron, the saint of Yahuwah. The earth opened and swallowed up Dathan, and covered the company of Abiram. And a fire was kindled in their company. The flame burned up the wicked.
All right, so the Most High will allow things like this to happen. And then the Most High will just have his time when he does his thing. Verse 19.
They made a calf in Horeb, and worshipped the molten image. Thus they changed their splendor into the similitude of an ox that eateth grass. They forgot Allure, their savior, which had done great things in Egypt.
So imagine the Most High have them along the way, taking them out of Egypt. They forgot everything about him, sacrificing the calves and focusing on the calves that they 22.
Wondrous works in the land of Ham, and terrible things by the Red Sea. Therefore he said that he would destroy them. Had not Moses, his chosen, stood before him in the breach to turn away his wrath, lest he should destroy them? Yea, they despised the pleasant land. They believed not his word, but murmured in their tents, and hearkened not unto the voice of Yahuwah.
So when we are taking our own counsel, we are not going to believe the word of the Most High. We are going to believe what? The counsel that we take. And why is that? The Most High will make the counsel prosper. Because as it says in Psalm 81, verse 11 and Proverbs 1, 22 to 33, that they despise his counsel, so he made them walk in their own counsel and made them walk according to their own devices. So their own devices now start looking as if it is working and it is the truth. Yes? And so they forgot everything about Yahuwah. Continue.
Therefore he lifted up his hand against them, to overthrow them in the wilderness, to overthrow their seed among the nations, and to scatter them in the lands. They joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague brake in upon them. They stood up Phinehas, and executed judgment, and so the plague was stayed. And that was counted unto him for righteousness unto all generations for evermore. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his ruach, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips.
So we see when we are going after our own counsel, there is no limit to the things that we will do. And they even cause other people to sin as well, so that you say the wrong things or do the wrong things. Verse 34.
They did not destroy the nations concerning whom Yahuwah commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works, and went a whoring with their own inventions.
So you see the whole thing of going after our own inventions, our own devices. It's a non-stop, like a snowball rolling down a hill. Non-stop thing of sin after sin, sin adding sin to sin, going deeper and deeper into sin. And that's why you have a religion like Christianity. It goes according to their own devices, each man according to his own way and his own will. And that is why you can never ever get them on the line with Yahuwah. You think you can get a Christian church to so easily turn to Yahuwah? I've heard of instances where some pastors are able to do it. But it's hard, because it's one invention after another, one false teaching after another. Verse 40.
Therefore was the wrath of Yahuwah kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance.
So do we want Yahuwah to abhor us? Do we want him to hate us? Not I. Psalm 107 verse 1 to 15 again. Oh, give thanks unto Yahuwah, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Verse 2.
Let the redeemed of Yahuwah say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy, and gathered them out of the lands from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty their soul fainteth in them. Then they cried unto Yahuwah in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distresses.
You see what we're talking about? Seek Yahuwah, cry unto Yahuwah to let him direct your path. Eh? Hungry and thirsty their soul fainted. But when they cried unto Yahuwah, the merciful one delivered them out of their distresses. Verse 7.
And he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation. Oh, that men would praise Yahuwah for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he satisfieth the longing soul, and filleth the hungry soul with goodness. Such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, being bound in affliction and iron, because they rebelled against the words of Yahuwah and contemned the counsel of the Most High. Therefore he brought down their heart with labor. They fell down, and there was none to help.
When we go into our own devices, the Most High is going to leave everything on. There's no good thing coming out of it. None. Because the Most High is going to put us under pressure. Plus, he's going to give us our desires. And our desires are going to look like it is the truth. Why do you think you have such false religion? That is why me as a person speaking, I am just seeking out what is the way and the will of the Most High. I know that if I slip, and let me tell you something, you will make an error. But the Most High will correct you, because he knows that your heart does not desire the error. But if you have the intent to pursue something that is wrong, trouble. Because he knows that you have the desire. He says, okay, I'm giving you the truth. You don't want it. All right, take this lie. So that is why you have to seek out his truth at all times. Continue, verse 13.
Then they cried unto Yahuwah in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses.
Oh, how merciful he is. He continues to save them. Verse 14.
He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death, and brake their bands in sunder. Oh, that men would praise Yahuwah for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men.
All right. So, what is the purpose, counsel, or will of Yahuwah? All the same thing. Galatians 1 verse 4.
Who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of Yahuwah and our Father.
So it is the will of the Most High that we be delivered from this present evil world. I want you to think about that and about how most believers view their salvation or view the scriptures. We view the scriptures as the Most High saving us through his Son and then helping us in this world to continue to partake of this world until his Son returns. Isn't that what Christianity believes in? But it says the will of Yahuwah is to save us from this present evil world. Which is why it says, well, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. So it is the will of Yahuwah that we hate the world. Ephesians 3 verse 10.
To the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the assembly the manifold wisdom of Yahuwah, according to the eternal purpose which he purposed in Hamashiach Yahusha our Master, in whom we have boldness and access with confidence by the faith of him. Wherefore I desire that ye faint not at my tribulations for you, which is your splendor.
All right, that seems to be one out of place. I don't know. Verse 1 Thessalonians 5:18.
In everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahuwah in Hamashiach Yahusha concerning you.
All right, so that's another one of his will for us to give thanks for everything. And everything means everything, what we might consider good and bad. Good news, bad news, everything we give thanks. 2 Timothy 1 verse 9.
Who hath saved us and called us with an holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and favour, which was given us in Hamashiach Yahusha before the world began, but is now made manifest by the appearing of our Saviour, Yahusha Hamashiach, who hath abolished death and hath brought life and immortality to light through the good news.
So that is the will of the Most High, that death is abolished and we are brought to life and immortality. Now, for us to walk in the way and the will of the Most High, if we are talking about his purpose, right? His will. The Most High has a will that will be done. He says his word will not come back void. It will accomplish that which it wills. It will not come back void. And the Most High will even bring evil on us. He brought evil on Yasharal so as to achieve his purpose. Jeremiah 36 verse 2 to 3.
Take thee a roll of a book, and write therein all the words that I have spoken unto thee against Yasharal, and against Yehudah, and against all the nations from the day I spake unto thee, from the days of Josiah even unto this day. It may be that the house of Yehudah will hear all the evil which I purpose to do unto them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquity and their sin.
So the Most High will put evil on us so that we return to the path that we should go on. Jeremiah 16:6-19.
Hear, O earth, Behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor to my law, but rejected it.
Look in that verse there. I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts. What's the fruit of their thoughts? What does that mean? What does that signify? The fruits of their thoughts. That means he will pollute their thinking so that they will think and be in error. Because they have not hearkened unto his words, nor to his law, but rejected it. So we have to make sure that we are on point, or else he might pollute his word among us. So another thing about his purpose again, so he will bring evil upon us in order to get us back in line. Another thing about his purpose is that his purpose shall be achieved in us, even though we make unwise decisions. I think we looked at this before. Sirach 15, 10 to 15. Even though we make unwise decisions, his purpose will still be done in us. Sirach 15, verse 10 to 15.
For praise shall be...
yes. Oh, no, we looked at that already. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the danger of taking our own counsel. The danger of taking our own counsel. Sirach 19:22.
The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence.
So when we go and take counsel among sinners, there is no prudence there. There is nothing good there. We will get misled in those counsels. Now the danger of taking our own counsel. Sirach 6 verse 2.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone.
You see? If we take our own counsel, in the counsel of our own heart, that means the counsel based on our desires, counsel based on our own thinking. It says we could be torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. Verse 3. Thou shalt eat up thy leaves. Thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit and leave thyself as a dry tree. Sirach 30 verse 21.
Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
How many times have we afflicted ourselves in our own counsel? Things that are on our own heart. And we start, man, this has happened too many times to me over time. You think something is so, and you start afflicting yourself, worrying yourself about things that never happen. And in the end, you find out that it was just not so. Yeah? Our own counsel. So the whole point is, whatever counsel must be through the Ruach, must be of Yahuwah. Now when we take counsel without emanah, when we take counsel without faith, this is what happens. Judith 7, 19 to 32. Taking counsel without emanah. Hold on, please. Judith 7, I said. Judith 7, 19 to 32. All right, go ahead.
Then the children of Yasharal cried unto Yahuwah their Eluah, because their heart failed, for all their enemies had compassed them round about, and there was no way to escape out from among them.
Mm-hmm.
Thus all the company of Assur remained about them, both their footmen, chariots, and horsemen, 34 days, so that all their vessels of water failed, all the inhabitants of Bethulia.
So the Assyrians here were actually sieging Yasharal, helped by the children of Edom. And Yasharal reached to the point where they had no water. They became nervous, they became fearful, saying that now we are done. Verse 21.
And the cisterns were emptied, and they had not water to drink their fill for 1 day, for they gave them drink by measure. Therefore their young children were out of heart, and their women and young men fainted for thirst, and fell down in the streets of the city, and by the passages of the gates, and there was no longer any strength in them. Then all the people assembled to Ozias and to the chief of the city, both young men and women and children, and cried with a loud voice, and said before all the elders, Yahuwah be judge between us and you, for you have done us great injury, in that ye have not required peace of the children of Assur.
All right, so here we go. The leaders, the people now who are lacking in Emunah, going to the leaders and blaming the leaders that they are in this problem because they did not surrender. They did not give up. Now, when you have people with Emunah will stand up. But the people who are lacking in Emunah, they will not. That's why when you're together, it is good to have people of one heart, one Emunah. You have people who are lacking in Emunah, they are going to break down the entire assembly. Continue.
For now we have no helper, but Yahuwah hath sold us into their hands, that we should be thrown down before them with thirst and great destruction.
So they have gone out to blame the Most High. Continue.
Now therefore call them unto you, and deliver the whole city for a spoil to the people of Holofernes, and to all his army. For it is better for us to be made a spoil unto them than to die for thirst. For we will be his servants, that our souls may live, and not see the death of our infants before our eyes, nor our wives, nor our children to die.
So they took this counsel. The men took the counsel and brought it to the leaders. 28.
We take to witness against you the heaven and the earth, and our Yahuwah and Yahuwah of our fathers, which punisheth us according to our sins and the sins of our fathers, that he do not according as we have said this day. Then there was great weeping with one consent in the midst of the assembly, and they cried unto Yahuwah with a loud voice. Then said Ozias to them, Brethren, be of good courage. Let us yet endure 5 days, in the which space Yahuwah our Yahuwah may turn his mercy towards us, for he will not forsake us utterly. And if these days pass, and there come no help unto us, I will do according to your word. And he dispersed the people, every one to their own charge, and they went unto the walls and towers of their city, and sent the women and children into their houses, and they were very low brought in the city. So
Hosea said, give us 5 days. But we're going to hear what Yahuwah had to say. Judith 8 verse 1.
Now at that time Judith heard thereof, which was the daughter of Merari, the son of Ox, the son of Joseph, the son of Oziel, the son of Elkiah, the son of Ananias, the son of Gedeon, the son of Raphaim, the son of Achitho, the son of Eliu, the son of Eliab, the son of Nathaniel, the son of Samuel, the son of Salabastiah, the son of Yasharal.
All right, go down to verse 9.
Now when she heard the evil words of the people against the governor, that they fainted for lack of water, for Judith had heard all the words of Ozias, had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city unto the Assyrians after 5 days. Then she sent her waiting woman that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Cabris and Carmis, the ancients of the city, And they came unto her, and she said unto them, Hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulia, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which ye made and pronounced between Yahuwah and you, and have promised to deliver the city to our enemies unless within these days Yahuwah turn to help you.
All right. So she says, these 5 days thing that you give, you should not have heeded to the people because they are lacking in emunah. So when you are lacking in emunah, you are going to take counsel according to your weakness. And taking counsel according to your weakness, you will not be doing that which is right in Yahuwah's sight, because Yahuwah is an allure of emunah that believes in emunah. He says, without emunah, it is impossible to please him. Continue.
And now who are you that have tempted Yahuwah this day, and stand instead of Yahuwah among the children of men? And now try Yahuwah Almighty, that ye shall never know anything.
You see what she's saying? They should have consulted Yahuwah. What they did, they went off their own thinking and set 5 days for Yahuwah. It's the same thing that we started out thinking, saying in the beginning. We do not make our own decisions of our own hearts. We go and we seek after Yahuwah. Continue.
For you cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can you perceive the things that he thinketh. Then how can you search out Yahuwah, that made all these things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not Yahuwah our Yahuwah to anger.
Continue.
For if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will, even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies.
Right? So even when we think we have given up on everything and time has expired and everything, the Most High can help us at any time. Verse 16.
Do not bind the counsels of Yahuwah our Yahuwah, for Yahuwah is not as man, that he may be threatened, neither he as the Son of Man, that he should be wavering. Therefore let us wait for salvation of him, and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice if it please him.
All right. Let us wait for salvation of him. You see again, waiting, patience, and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice if it please him. All right, so you can read the rest of verse 8 there. Just showing that when we are lacking in emunah, when we don't have faith, then we are going to make decisions that are full of fear. So we have to let good counsel, deliberation or prudence, and prayer go before action. This is how we approach things. This is how we should be approaching things from now on. Let good counsel, deliberation, and prayer go before we take action. Sirach 37, verse 7 to 16. Sirach 37. 37, verse 7 to 16. Go ahead, please.
And every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself.
There is some that counseleth for himself. When he speaks to some people, they take counsel to benefit themselves. Therefore, verse 8.
Beware of a counselor, and know before what need he hath, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast the lot upon thee.
You see that? Beware of a counselor, and know before what need he hath, for he will counsel for himself. If you go and ask, that is why sometimes we're talking to Christians. I say, I'll go ask my pastor. I say, no. Don't ask your pastor. Prove it for yourself. Why? When the pastor comes and brings counsel, he's going to do what? Counsel for himself. His whole counseling is going to try to counsel them to remain in what he is telling them. He's teaching them. Verse 9.
and say unto thee, Thy way is good, and afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. Consult not with one that suspecteth thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee.
It's not everyone you have to consult with. Verse 11.
Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous, neither with a coward in matters of war, nor with a merchant concerning exchange, nor with a buyer of selling, nor with an envious man of unthankfulness, nor with an unmerciful man touching kindness, nor with the slothful for any work, nor with an hireling for a year of finishing work, nor with an idle servant of much business. Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel.
In other words, you have to choose your counselors carefully. Yes? You have to know that this person has wisdom. This person has understanding of what they are speaking about. So you wouldn't go to a real estate agent on matters of, when you're speaking about like in the world, go to a real estate agent if you want to invest in stocks. That doesn't make any sense.
And
Both are not compatible. Go ahead.
And people who have conflict of interest.
Yes.
That's what it seemed to be saying here too. Conflict of interest.
Yes. Yeah, people who have conflict of interest as well, who are going to be seeking out their own way. How can you consult with people who are going to consult according to their own desires? Verse 12.
But be continually with a holy man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of Yahuwah, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
All right. Continue.
And let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it.
So this is where you prove all things, hold fast that which is good. You listen to counsel, but you prove all things, hold fast that which is good. 14.
For a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above an high tower. And above all this pray to the Most High,
that he will direct thy way in truth. That is what we're looking at. For the Most High to direct us. For our mind is sometimes want to tell us more than 7 watchmen, which means all different types, 7 different things are going through our minds at once. All right? And above all this, pray to the Most High that he will direct thy way in truth. Seek the Most High. Yes? Verse 16.
Let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action.
So before every action, we deliberate. We take counsel to make sure that we are not in error. So the rebellious will take their own counsels and get tangled and go into bondage and will be overcome by the enemy. The rebellious will take their own counsels. Psalms 81 verses 11 to 12. When there is a rebellious spirit, we will take our own counsels. We will not be able to stand to the counsels of others. Read, please.
But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Yasharal would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels.
So these are the people who would not hear his voice and did not want to have anything to do with him. He will give them up into their own heart's lust, and they will walk in their own counsels, which means whatever they decide is right or true, he will make that appear to be true. Isaiah 30 verses 1 to 17. Isaiah 30 verses 1 to 17.
Woe to the rebellious children, says Yahuwah, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my ruach, that they may add sin to sin.
All right, look at that first verse. Those who are rebellious, will take counsel, but that counsel will not be of Yahuwah. And they will take a covering, but not the covering of the Ruach of Yahuwah. And as a result, they will do what? Add sin to sin. As long as you don't take the counsel of the Most High, sin is going to be knocking at your door, and you are going to be adding sin upon sin. Wow. Verse 2.
That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth.
And have not done what?
Asked at my mouth.
Before we do anything, we need to ask of Yahuwah. Continue.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Oh, continue. Verse 3.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
Verse 4.
For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be an help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach.
So when people are rebellious and take their own covering and take their own counsel, it says they will not profit anyone, nor be helped, but will be a shame and also a reproach. Verse 6.
The burden of the beasts of the south into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and the fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this, their strength is to sit still.
So when we go and seek after this world, and the Most High is calling us in his counsel, this is actually speaking like today, when people are determined that they are going to seek after this world, no matter what we see happening in the world today, determined to seek after this world, trusting in Pharaoh, trusting in Egypt. It says their strength is to sit still, because they will not profit anyone. Verse 8.
Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of Yahuwah, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits.
Continue.
Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Yasharel to cease from before us.
So they don't want to hear the words of the Most High. They don't want to hear the Most High's truth. So they want the prophets to be silenced. They don't want the truth of the word to come out. Have you ever tried speaking with some people and they don't want to hear? They don't want to hear, okay, that's it. That's it. All right. They don't want to hear. Yet still, they will listen to some people who cannot profit them. Continue.
Wherefore thus says the Kadesh one of Yasharel, because ye despised this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it a sherd to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus says Yahuwah Eluah, the Kadosh one of Yasharal, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not.
All right, so we can stop there. So the Most High is saying, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. But because we walk in our own counsels and we want the desires of our own heart, we don't want to dwell in quietness and in confidence so that we can be strong. So we reject the ways of the Most High. All right. All right. What about the prophets that take their own counsels? What about the prophets that take their own counsels? Jeremiah 23, 16 to 34. Jeremiah 16, 23 to 34.
Jeremiah 23.
23, 16,
16.
All right, thanks. Jeremiah 23, 16. Go ahead.
Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of Yahuwah.
All right, so we're going to deal with the prophets now and the words that are being spoken. If the prophet is speaking to you things that make you vain, then run away from that prophet. If the prophet is speaking things that make you vain, run away. Continue.
They say still unto them that despise me, the Yahuwah hath said, Ye shall have peace. And they say unto every one that walketh after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come upon you.
So you see, the prophets tell people what they want to hear.
Nice thing.
Nice things. Nothing is going to be wrong with you. Isn't that what we hear? Yes. No, but listen, when they're talking about Babylon and fleeing out of the midst of Babylon.
I see a house. I see a car.
Yes. Yes. Yep. So, flee out of the midst of Babylon. They said, no, you don't have to flee. Yes. Things have always been happening in this world. It is nothing new that all of these things are happening. Man has always been doing evil things. Nothing is new in this world. Verse 18.
For who hath stood in the counsel of Yahuwah, and hath perceived and heard his word? Who hath marked his word and heard it? Behold, a whirlwind of Yahuwah is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of Yahuwah shall not return, until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied.
It says, in the latter days you shall consider it perfectly. So let's see how you know those who are the true and who are not the true prophets in the latter days. Verse 22.
But if they had stood in my counsel, and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil way, and from the evil of their doings.
You see that? The true prophets of the end time will turn people away from their evil ways and from the evil of their doings. If you have people telling you those lullabies, bedtime stories, those sweet nursery rhymes, those sweet things that people want to hear, they are not from the Most High. The Most High will send people who will focus on changing us, transforming us from our evil ways into the way of righteousness. Verse 23.
Am I an allure at hand, says Yahuwah, and not an allure afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places, that I shall not see him, says Yahuwah? Do not I fill heaven and earth, says Yahuwah? I have heard what the prophets said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying that I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets?
All right. So there's this thing about dreaming, saying, I have dreamed. Many people are saying, might be thinking that when he says dreams, that dream is a bad thing. No, that's how the Most High speaks to his prophets, through dreams or visions. That's what he said when he spoke to Moses. It says, when he spoke of Moses, he says, when I speak to a prophet, I speak to them through dreams and visions, but Moses, I speak with him face to face. Right? So this is not saying that dreams are bad. It is people who come up with their own inventions. We're going to see. Verse 26.
How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart.
All right, that's it. The false prophets will prophesy lies because they prophesy according to the deceit of their own heart. Because of their own desires, that is how they're going to prophesy. They're going to tell people lies in order to achieve that which they want to achieve. 27.
Which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams.
Stop there. Which think to cause my people to forget my name. These are not people of Yahuwah. These are people who are trying to trip up people to forget Yahuwah. Because they want us to call on the names of other gods. Verse 27.
Which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal.
Verse 28.
The prophet that hath a dream, let him tell a dream, and he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully.
Faithfully. That means you'll be in truth. You will speak the truth. You will be faithful to Yahuwah. The dreams are not bad. It is the intent of the person behind the dream that will corrupt the dream, corrupt the word that is given. Continue.
What is the chaff to the wheat, says Yahuwah? Is not my word like as fire, says Yahuwah?
Stop. Is not my word like as a fire? Those who are speaking Yahuwah's word, the word is going to be like a fire. It's going to be hard to bear. It's not going to be any nice thing. It is going to be like fire. And only those who are willing to bear the fire will be able to tolerate the word. Read 29 again, please.
Is not my word like as a fire, says Yahuwah, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahuwah, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahuwah, that use their tongues and say, he said.
Whoa! Isn't that what you find in Christianity? What a religion? Thus saith Yahuwah, or Yahuwah said to tell you. You come to tell Yahuwah said to tell you so and so and so. Yeah? It says, I'm against the prophet that steal my words, everyone from his neighbor. I remember I was watching, why the Bible is so true. Remember I was watching one at a time, a few months ago, watching some female prophets, Christian prophets. And from one to the other, they were saying that this one is stealing my prophecy. She is stealing my prophecies. This is the word right here. This is the word right here. They are literally stealing. So they go on YouTube, they watch their videos, and that's what they're saying. She's watching my videos, and then she's taking it as her own prophecy. Because the more prophecies you have, the greater your numbers swell. The greater the numbers swell, the more money you can make. This is it right here. Verse 31.
Behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahuwah, that use their tongues and say, he said. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, says Yahuwah, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies, and by their likeness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, says Yahuwah.
All right, so most of the times if people of the Most High get dreams, they are hard dreams. And if the person is a person of Yahuwah, seeking out Yahuwah faithfully, the Most High will lead them and give them the right prophecies. But if the person is prophesying according to the desires of their heart, then they will be in error. Verse 33.
And when this people, or the prophet, or a priest, shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of Yahuwah? Thou shalt then say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, says Yahuwah.
Continue.
And as for the prophet and the priest and the people that shall say, the burden of Yahuwah, I will even punish that man and his house.
All right, so what he's saying that you cannot pick up and speak about the burden of Yahuwah because Yahuwah has not given you a burden. All right, if you read in the books, the prophets, they talk about the burden of Isaiah, the burden of Amos, the burden of Malachi. That is a burden when they see destruction and all of that. The Most High is saying, you cannot speak about the burden because all you're doing are prophesying things that people want to hear. All right? So, we're at the end now. Yahuwah's counsel is the only counsel that shall stand. Yahuwah's counsel is the only counsel that shall stand. Now, what's the implication of this? We cannot take counsel of our own hearts. We cannot take counsel according to our own desires. We cannot just jump up and do everything. People, we are believers. We are given the gift of the Ruach. We are to utilize the Ruach, which is given to us to lead us or guide us into all truth. We are to use the Ruach and be led into the truth of the Most High. We are to seek out the Most High with all our hearts, mind, and soul. We must not be hasty to make decisions. We must seek the Most High first and let Him lead us in the path that we should go. Otherwise, we might end up in error and be brought into places that are dry and hard and harsh and bitter and rough. We might even be led into our own destruction. We might be led from problems to problems. We might be led from error to error, from sin to sin, brought into destruction because we want to do things of our own, trusting in our own hearts, trusting in our own desires, trusting in ourselves, and not trusting in the Most High. What does the word say? Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and lean not to thine own understanding. So only Yahuwah's counsel will stand in the end. Isaiah 46, verse 8 to 13.
Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. I am Yahuwah, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So if we are not walking according to his counsel, in line with his counsel still shall stand. But it's going to cause you pain because you did not seek to walk in his counsel. You sought to walk in your own counsel. And he even said, if you walk in your own counsel, he will give you the desire of your heart. Psalm 81. He will make you walk in your own counsel because you did not want to hear his reproof and you did not want to have anything to do with him. Continue, verse 11.
Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executeth my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it.
So if we do not want to execute his counsel, he will call a man from a far country to execute it. In other words, it is nothing for him to push you aside because his will must be done. That is why what it said in the New Testament that he's able to raise up stones unto Abraham. Yes? He will raise up a man from a far country to do that which you do not want to do. Verse 12.
Hearken unto me, ye stout-hearted, that are far from righteousness. I bring near my righteousness. It shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry. And I will place salvation in Zion, for Yasharal, my splendor.
That's it. His salvation is in Zion. And it will be accomplished no matter what we do, no matter what decisions we take. Taking our own decisions, we could be cast aside, but his will must be done. His salvation will not tarry and will be in Zion. So people, Are we doing Yahuwah's will? Or are we walking after our own will? Are we walking according to the desires of our heart? Or are we in line with the purpose, the counsel of the Most High? Whose counsel are we following? That is the question. So for us today, my advice, everything that you need to do, seek Yahuwah first. Do not make decisions on your own heart. And you can seek Yahuwah by seeking counsel of the elders. Seek Yahuwah by praying. Seek Yahuwah by fasting. Seeking Him by meditating on His word. You can go and be in solitude, meditating, and the Most High will give you a word. Many times it's while I'm praying, the Most High does get, and just pausing, the Most High will give me a word. The Most High will send people to speak with you. Have your eyes open, and He will advise you accordingly. As we were speaking about the radio program earlier, we were just there listening to the radio, and the Most High sent confirmation just through listening to the radio. So our spiritual eyes have to be open at all times so that we can be alert to how the Most High works. He will speak to us in any way that you wish. So many different ways He will speak to us. You cannot limit Him. As Judith said to the elders, you cannot limit the Most High. Don't limit Him, but just have your spiritual eyes open to hear from Him. Listen to the leaders that He has set. Listen to the elders that He has given. Listen to the wise. If you are seeking something about something, you know someone has the wisdom on it, seek him on the wisdom. Do not seek someone who has no idea of something on something and give up on someone who you know has the understanding just because that person might tell you something that you don't want to hear. Do not have itching ears. We were called to suffer. We were called to be a poor and afflicted people. We have to be willing to suffer for the truth, to suffer for righteousness. Do not have itching ears going about trying to find people to tell you what you want to hear. Listen to the people of the Most High who will tell you things that are like fire. Yahuwah says His words are like fire. And so the prophets who go about telling people what they want to hear, please run away from those people. Listen to people who will tell you the truth of Yahuwah's word. And the truth of Yahuwah's word, it is heavy. It is not light. It is not easy. All right? So that's what I have to say for today. The counsel of Yahuwah or the counsel of man. Reject the counsel of man if it contradicts or goes against the counsel of Yahuwah. Seek out the counsel of Yahuwah and not your own counsel. Because if we seek our own counsel, we are going to be in trouble. Right? All right. No one has anything to say? All right. Anything on call it the chat? All right. Let me start from top. People in the chat, you can leave your questions and we'll answer if we can. All right. All right, my soldier, sounds good to hear that you're feeling better. No. All right, Yahudian is asking us to pray for her husband in the hospital. Broken bones, a car hit him off his bike. Sheba, yeah, and all that will live righteous in Yahuwah. Yahushua Mashiach shall suffer persecution. All right. All right. Akila, Ben Yasharal, when we follow Hamashiach, the world will hate you, block you, unfollow you, talk behind your back, laugh at you, reject you, make false claims about you, test you, try to destroy your emunah. Also true. Right? Psalms 106. And iron, because they rebelled against the words of Yahuwah Eluah and contemned the counsel of the Most High. That's in line with what we're saying. All right. Kay said, aside from rejecting Yahuwah's counsel to fulfill his will, there seems to be times when we mistake our own and others' counsel as being his. Yes, of course. We hear other counsel and we think it is the counsel of the Most High, especially when it agrees with our counsel. We believe it. All right, someone says false religion is part of the great delusion. Yeah. All right, someone says word of wisdom. There's a prophetess celestial who speaks words of fire, but she continues to call on JC and God. Does this mean she's a false prophet according to Jeremiah 23:27? I can comment on that. Just calling a name does not mean that you're false. It might mean that she has not yet come into acceptance of the name. But it is what she says that makes her false. The word says if whatever she speaks comes to pass, then you know that she is true. All right? Guess who said powerful teaching? Ona. All right, Ona, I heard you. I long to see you though. All praises to the Most High. All right, someone says, family, we are blessed to have found this teaching today. All praises, timely lesson. Thank you, Elder Shalom. Shalom. Thank you for the teaching, Yada Yahuwah. Question. How do you explain the validity of the Nazarene to others? The validity of the Nazarene is to, you see, if someone has, the Nazarene is not for everyone. The book of the Nazarene is not for everyone. It is for those who desire the truth. Because if you give someone who is not interested in the truth, then they will just flat out reject it. Because those who are not interested in the truth are interested in religion. And the religion that says 66 books. Some might accept some apocrypha. But then they don't want to accept the other books because then they will start to have to think. We are lazy people. Think about it. When you start bringing in the other books, then what you believe here, you have to start questioning and start matching it up. Some people don't want that. We just want to be left in our comfort. So, no other books. So the Nazarene is not for everyone. I wouldn't give everyone. I put it on the website, but when I'm speaking, I pick and choose who I give it to. If someone is not at the place, that book can have them and bring them into problems. That is why the Most High said in the book of 2nd Esdras that he leaves the books for the wise. He gives some for everyone, and then he leaves the books for the wise. We're not calling ourselves wise, but you have to reach to a certain level of understanding and wisdom so that the other books can benefit you. Otherwise, they will break you down. Hold on.
Some of us, if we're not fully walking after the rock, that book can make you go into error and into sin and justify yourself being in sin.
Yes.
If you're not walking in the rock.
Yes.
So we have to be careful who read that book.
All right. Yeah. So Brian Bino asked, is wisdom a female ruach? Yes, it is. And it is all over the scripture, always referred to in the feminine. or Pauline Wallace, we don't call on the name of Yahweh, we call on the name of Yahuwah. And there's a difference. All right. Question: do you have the chapter verse for the Ezra's book you just mentioned on the other books? Yes, it's second Ezra's chapter 14 about, let me get it. Second Ezra's chapter 14, about verse 30 something. Verse 44. Second Esdras, let me put it on the screen. Verse 44. Read it, please, George. 14. Verse 44. Go ahead.
In 40 days they wrote 204 books.
Continue.
And it came to pass, when the 40 days were filled, that the highest spake, saying, the first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it. But keep the 70 last, that they mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so.
All right, so that's it. Where that one is concerned. Leave it to the wise among the people. So that is why I wouldn't be there encouraging people and trying to force people to read certain books. If they are not at the place, it's not for them at all. All right? Huh?
Can draw them closer or put them far from
Yes.
the way.
It can bring you closer or bring you far away from the way, turn you off the right path. So to me, it's only people who are seeking and people who have a certain level of wisdom. Those beginners and everything, you wouldn't give them nursery. No, not at all. All right, so that's it. Thank you all for watching. Please like and share this this teaching. And remember, check out our new website, the Bible Truth Revealed podcast, at jawpodcast.com. Jawpodcast.com. I have put the link in the chat. There we have different podcast episodes based on certain things, that certain topics, and it should be very edifying. And they range in length from maybe like 8 minutes, 12, 20 minutes, 30 odd minutes, varying lengths. And it is much easier to digest than when we're here on the Shabbat, when we go like 2-3 hours. All right. So check out the Bible Truth Revealed podcast at jawpodcast.com. All right. So until next time, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Shalom.